Train the muscles, not the joints. Okay, so today I only have about 35 minutes to work out, just because of the gym closing early, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be going through a real-time workout. It'll be great for editing reasons anyway. I'm just trying to get the workout in. I had a lot more carbs today. I had a lot more rice. This is kind of my cheat day or higher carb day, so I had a bunch of rice today with some chicken I had at Nando's or whatever. And so today I'm going to train some chest, some back, and some biceps. I'm not going to be doing a big workout, but I am going to be doing some partial reps at times as well, just to isolate some areas. And a couple of you guys have been asking what I've been doing for my triceps, why my triceps have been getting so big lately, okay? And it all has to do with range of motion and catering my range of motion towards some of the goals that I have. So some of you have also mentioned that my chest is a little bit weaker than my shoulders right now, and that's partially because of the injuries that I took from hockey in my shoulder. So my shoulder and my delt seem to take a lot more of the stress when I press. So it's even more important for me to find the exact right range of motion for me to hit the chest, okay? So as you watch my videos over the next 3 months or 2 months, you'll see my chest will come up because I am going to cater my movements to getting that weak link up, right? Okay? Another thing I will be doing is, with these real-time workouts, I will be cutting some of the places where I walk away from the machine, say I'm stretching, or say I walk away from the exercise for a bit, just to get rid of some of the dead time. So don't worry, don't panic, it's still real time really, it's just, I'll just cut 1 or 2 places, okay? So that way you guys aren't bored, you know? I don't think I'll have much time to joke around tonight, so this might be a more serious workout, but we'll see what happens. So I figured I'd keep you company a little bit with a voiceover during my live workouts. Isn't this crazy? It's like you've got two Jasons at the same time. That's just amazing. Wow, your day must feel really amazing. Anyway, so just so you know, I'm doing the slow reps here. I always talk about this, but it's really good for me to elaborate on it. I sometimes will stop at the bottom and just hold there for a period of time in an isometric contraction, just to really get that burn in the muscles. And I know I've been showing you this for the last few vlogs, but I find it's a really effective warm-up technique because it gets your body ready for the stretch that will happen. You know, whatever range of motion that you're choosing in your workout, this is a great way to do it. I do this with squats, I do it with deadlifts. You know, anything that I'm doing, I'll hold in that stretch position with really light weight, and from there my body gets ready for that stretch, and then it's not a surprise once I start to put weight on there, right? So very important for you to remember, very important for you to incorporate in your training if you wish to have some sort of longevity, and it also helps take some of the pressure off. You know, I found that when I used to go in the gym a long time ago, I used to be like rushing through the warm-ups and saying, okay, I got to get this over with because I'm going to be in a world of hurt today, especially during squat workouts and stuff. And sometimes I'll be rushing these warm-ups, but the funny thing is, it's almost like you have to prime the pump. Once you start to feel a little bit better, and once you start to get the blood in there, sometimes it gives you the energy for the rest of your workout. Nummy. And so there I am drinking my coffee. I just woke up from a nap. You know, I have a little nap sometimes. That's the other thing. I don't know how many of you guys nap and stuff like that, but a lot of times I'll take a 20-minute or 30-minute nap before I come to the gym. And sometimes it'll be an hour nap, which is more like a hibernation. But usually I take a quick nap because it helps reset my nervous system. And your nervous system is how you fire the muscles, right? So how your brain feels, and if it's full of, you know, a lot of the stress from the day or events or whatever it is that's going on, sometimes I find resetting, you know, whether it's with a nap or a deep meditation or something, I find that helps me feel really rejuvenated when I get into the gym. Bench keeps migrating, and because it keeps migrating, sometimes the bench is tilted this way, sometimes it's tilted that way. So if I had a level in here, it'd be interesting to see where the weight is on this bench. So as you guys know, I don't touch my chest. The reason why is because when I touch my chest, I just find it overstretches my delt, or both my delts actually. So I want to keep the stress off the delts as much as possible, which is another reason why I will be doing real partials later on in this workout. So stay tuned for that.
I'm gonna do one more warm up. I've been training chest every day for the last 4 days, so some volume's been really low, sometimes the weight's been really low, but because of that, I'm gonna make sure I'm warmed up here.
And this goes in alignment with my talks and my videos. You know, I always talk to you guys about paying attention to the now in your workout, really paying attention to how you feel, because it's so easy for us to remember, you know, the last workout where we hit a PR, or another workout last week where we felt a certain way, we could just, you know, lift anything. And then some days you go in the gym and you feel like your body's like broken glass, right? So you got to make sure you pay attention, because your body's always speaking to you. And one of the ways that I'm following it right now is I'm doing an extra set of 225 warm up just to make sure everything feels good. So you see, it's just easy weight for me, easy weight. I just pumped out 10 reps easy there, or a little bit more, I don't know. I didn't even count. But the bottom line is that doing a couple easy sets like this can do wonders to keep you in one piece, you know? It just is always about getting the body ready, getting the blood flow there, warming up the area, making sure everything is moving properly. And then from there, you know, it's a lot safer to move up in weight. So yeah, don't rush the beginning warm-ups, especially if you feel like something might be tight or something might be off, or maybe your groove is not there. Don't be afraid to take your time.
Great. Take 2 or 3 minutes here, warm up, and then I'll go. Now for a word from our sponsor. I don't have any sponsors.
This is a good time actually for me to bring up the Facebook group called Natural Gallant Bodybuilding. Make sure you guys join that. I'm trying to make sure that you guys and I are always in constant contact anyway, just in case, you know, my YouTube channel gets shut down, you know, or whatever. You never know in the internet age what's going on with Google and all this. So, but also make sure you follow me on Instagram if you want to, because sometimes I'm putting up photos of the food I'm eating, or what I'm doing, or just quick little snapshots of when I'm on my way to the gym or on the way home, or whatever it is I'm doing, right? So if you guys are actually interested in that kind of stuff, I will be uploading little snippets and stuff like that there, okay?
Hey Glenn! That's not a shoulder machine. That's not a shoulder machine.
It's funny, I always make fun of Glenn because he's always training shoulders, because he wants to train around his lower back and other injuries and stuff. And the truth is, even though I'm making fun of him, he does have the right idea. When you have injuries, it's fine to concentrate on areas that you can train. You know, it's really a good thing. You know, just work on what you can work on, and don't cause yourself too much frustration and emotional pain around what you can't train. And I think every bodybuilder or every person or every athlete, you know, goes through this, where sometimes you'll have an injury in a certain area and you just can't train it. And so you can use that as an opportunity, or you can use that as a source of frustration. You know, it's really up to you. But I find that you get a lot more results if you use it as an opportunity in order to work on some of those weak links that you might have, right?
Okay, so I could have rested a little bit more there. Got an extra rep. So, is it wrong? Not necessarily. I'm hitting a different type of fatigue in the muscle right now, but I'll rest a little bit more now and see if I can get 7 or 8 reps again. Because like I said, I don't have the luxury of the 10-set workout now, the nervous system thing, because I don't have the time tonight. So we're gonna do one more set and then do some pump out sets with partial reps.
See, the most powerful thing you can do is pay attention to what your body is telling you. And a lot of people discard this. They say the body is the enemy. What it's telling me is pain, and that must be wrong. And I'm saying to you that the pain is right. It's just that there are very many different variations of pain. And each variation is telling you something different. So you have to really learn that language, right? We all know there are such things as good pain and bad pain. And just like colors in a rainbow, there are a lot of variations of this. And as you learn to read this and not turn a blind eye to the body, you start to really be in the groove, I guess you could say. You start to really listen and find ways to surf these sensations, you know, and that's what I'm doing. You know, everything from my rest, everything from my range of motion, everything from what I eat, you know. I'm burping up Nando's right now, the spice and stuff, and I noticed that when I have too high a carbs, I notice that I get way more of a burn in the muscle, and it's not necessarily more productive for me in the gym sometimes. So these are all pieces of information that you start to pay attention to. So you always want to open up to the pain, open up to the sensations, and not turn a blind eye to them. You know, don't ignore them. In other words, really pay attention and log them in your little logbook in your mind. And if you keep on revisiting something, you start to actually put the pieces together and understand what's really happening in your body.
Okay, last set of these. Don't have the strength tonight. Feel good, but it's 4 days of chest, 5 days. Yeah, I think it's actually 5, but 4 days of chest for sure. And sometimes the strength starts to come down, but it doesn't mean the results and the gains are coming down. You see what I'm saying? Because workouts are all about pushing where your limit is in that day, but it doesn't mean you're not making results. So remember that. So now I'm going to go lighter.
So what I'm doing here is that I found a long time ago, and I don't do this nearly enough, you know, but I found a long time ago that shorter ranges of motion at the top really seem to hit my chest. And so now after I finish my workout of lifting heavy with a more full range of motion, okay, I know I don't touch my chest, but this is my full range for bench press. So I don't agree with touching my chest for me. For you, I might actually emphatically tell you to touch your chest. It just depends on how you're built, right? But for me, I don't touch my chest, but I find that I get a really good groove and constant tension on all the different muscle groups such as delts and chest. But if I really want to isolate my chest, I want to do the motion that you're going to see. And it's the top, you know, 5 or 6 inches of the motion. And I find that's where I really get primarily the chest hitting failure, not the delts. Okay, so the chest hits failure. Now, if I go too narrow with my hands, then I will hit tricep a little bit too much. So that's why I have to make sure I don't go too narrow. So if you do apply this technique for yourself, make sure you don't have too narrow of a grip, because if your grip is narrow, your triceps will give out first. And a sure sign is that's what happens. If your triceps start giving out first before your chest does, that means you're too narrow. Just widen up your grip a little bit, and there you go. Now you're applying the Jason Gallant technique. You're paying attention and responding basically on what the body's telling you, right?
Okay, right now I'm going to do some partials on purpose, okay? So before any of you get on my ass here, I'm doing it on purpose. I'm just going to do a couple inches at the top. So trying to isolate the chest, because when I'm coming down lower, I'm using the elastic energy from the shoulder, and that's why my shoulders have been getting great results. But I want that pec to come out a little bit more, right? I want to look like a freaking gorilla by the time I'm done. Dependent on the chest to stop the momentum, you see? So that's the big difference between that movement and me coming down lower. the chest muscle is actually stopping the movement along with the tricep. So you have to make sure you're wide enough grip. If you're too narrow, you'll use too much of the tricep, right?
I have to say, changing range of motion up and playing around with this, just like an artist does with paints and paintbrushes and all that, when you really change the range of motion up and really experiment, it really makes your workouts fun. It really rejuvenates your enthusiasm too, because you start to see effects that you couldn't see before, because you start to really hit muscles harder than you could before. You know, maybe some other muscles aren't hit, but some of them get hit really hard, and you start to make gains because you shock the system.
Okay, last one of these.
Now the most fun about trying a new range of motion is getting the new pump in that area, and then when you're taking your weights off your rack or off the barbell and you're putting them away, you get this pump and you just feel like you're an ogre, you know, putting them back on the rack, right? See, it's all about putting the weights away. You put the weights away, that's when you feel totally huge. Yeah, you got to really embrace that, you know, that's part of the workout where you get to look good, you know, flexing your muscles, putting the weights back on the rack. Yeah, now look at that. Yeah, that's right. See, this is what bodybuilding is all about, is just putting the weights away. Pick stuff up, put it down. Pick stuff up, put it down. Yeah, it's very simple, really. It's a simple life. It's a simple life. That's really true. It's a simple life.
Let's go over here. We'll do some back now. So we're gonna do some bent over rows. Let's move here. I'll show you my chest pump. Here you go, so you can see it's really bringing this out, you know, more of the fullness in here, right? So that's what I'm looking for. Some bent over rows here. Let's go bent over rows. For the record, sometimes I like the fast workouts because you're forced just to get down to business and get it done, you know? So sometimes a short workout can be just as effective as a long one in some ways, you know? So I mix it up all the time anyway.
See, I'll just keep you company while I'm setting up here, you know? That's the favorite box of the gym. I love that thing because I like to sit on it. It's my favorite little stool. I like to have chairs by the squat rack. I like sitting down in between sets. Some people don't really advocate that, but I like sitting down in between sets, especially with legs and things. And yeah, sometimes bent over rows, you know, I can sit there and contemplate life, whatever, you know. But anyway, so you're gonna see how I warm up here. I mean, a lot of you say, do you stretch? Do you do an individual stretch type thing? But you'll see right here, I'm holding the bar right to my stomach here, keeping the back flat. And then sometimes I'll do little bend over movements like this to make sure the hamstrings and the hips are bending properly and allowing the hamstring to stretch out and keep the back arched at the same time. You know, so, you know, obviously the bar is so darn light for me. It's really just, I'm just kind of going through the ritual here. And then I'm stretching the hips out here, the internal part of the legs, you know, the abductors and all that. I'm just stretching them all out because the more flexible these things are, the easier it will be for me to maintain the arch as I bend over with weights in my hands, right? So that's the most important thing. You want to maintain that arch because that protects the spine, protects the discs, protects the ligaments. The most important thing, right? So some people are saying, hey, I want to bend over and stretch my lower back out to the floor. And that's the way I used to bend over row when I was like 20 years old and I didn't know anything. I would bend right over and get that real nice lat stretch and it would feel just great because I saw it in Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia, right? And then of course at some point I started to realize, wow, my lower back is always in pain 2 or 3 days later. What's going on? And when I squatted, it would hurt. And I'm like, oh, the squats must be causing the problem. Well, actually, it was the bent over rows because I was rounding my back and stretching out the ligaments. So you want to maintain that arch. You want to maintain that flatness there in the lower back minimally. You know, it has to be at least flat, if not arched. And from there, at least you take some of the stress off the lower back. So that's why it's important for you to stretch those hamstrings out and those adductors before you do these types of exercises, or make sure those areas are at least warmed up anyway, right? Because if your hamstrings are cold and tight, it will pull your lower back into a rounded position, right? So that's what you see me doing here anyway with this ritual. Sorry about that lightning storm. You know, sometimes when I pose, I keep forgetting, you know, those poses are pretty powerful. It's kind of like a shamanic practice just to get the lightning. You know, that's probably why I have so much rain where I live. I mean, I'm probably posing too much. That's probably what's happening. It's kind of like some sort of posing worship of Thor, the thunder god. I don't know. Anyway, hey, it's just a theory. Just a theory. I don't know. But if I keep getting rain and snow around, I bet you it's just because of my posing. So if you guys are noticing the same thing in your neighborhood, just let me know. Let me know if your posing is causing some sort of weather disturbance, because this might be the next step in my training and my bodybuilding practice. I might be learning now how I'm affecting the weather based on my posing techniques. So anyway, yeah, so I'm just going to do one more set. I'm doing about 3 sets of bent over rows because that's all I have time for tonight. But like I said, sometimes it's a matter of just quality workouts, not necessarily quantity. You know, sometimes these quick workouts are pretty effective and I really enjoy them. So, hey, just getting in the gym is the most important thing. It's not about getting the perfect workout in, it's just about getting a workout in. You know, that really is important for people to remember. I find too many people get really fixated on getting the perfect workout. But if you just focus on getting a workout in, it's amazing what kind of results you can get just from that consistency.
I got baby ass grip today. But it's okay. I'm getting a pump in the lats anyway, so it's the way it is. It's the way it is, man. And I only have about 10 more minutes left in the gym here. So that's why I'm kind of rushing tonight a little bit.
I have to say I'm having a lot of fun with my workouts now. And one of the biggest reasons why I have a lot of fun with my workouts now is that I don't have you know, some sort of obligation to fulfill some sort of idea that's being perpetuated on the internet. You know, I'm free to be creative in my workouts, and being creative can really help your motivation. Not only that, it helps you discover new things. You know, inventors are great creators. They're great with their creativity and thinking outside the box. And if you embrace your inner inventor, your inner creator, you know, you basically start to be creative with your training, it'll be amazing what you unlock or unleash with your training. You start to discover new things that maybe other people haven't discovered. And because they don't have your body, and because your body is just its own individual sort of thing, based on its own genetic code and DNA and blueprints and all this kind of stuff, once you start to get creative with that, it becomes very fun. It's almost like a conversation that's going on between you and the body.
for the record, I've been doing back for the last 4 days in a row too. 3 or 4 sets each day. Sometimes easy movements, sometimes harder movements. But I have been training it, so it's, you know, constant pump, right? Then you can actually do smaller workouts if you work out more frequently. That's the beauty of it, right? Yeah, let's go do some biceps. Let's go do some light dumbbells and a little bit of cable stuff maybe. We'll see what I have time for, right? Only have about 7 or 8 minutes now. There's 2 ways on dumbbell curling. One way is like this, right? And sometimes I'll rotate it out, right? Like this. Then the other way, which I find more effective for me because of the instability in my shoulder, is like this, right? Just like this, keeping the elbows back. I'm doing this. Now the reason why I do that, even though it looks stupid, is because it keeps the tension on my bicep. And I want my biceps to hit failure. Remember, it's the weak link principle. Check out the video if you haven't watched it. It's the weak link principle. Whatever is the weak link is what your body will adapt. That's what your body will grow. You're growing the weak link in any one exercise. So you want to make sure, whatever you want to grow, you want that to hit failure first. Full curl, right? Brings a little bit of the shoulder joint in. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it takes the stress off one bicep, right? Here we go. See, burns right here. Right where I want it. Right there. That's where I want it. You know, for those of you that have injuries, like I have this bicep tear on this side and a slap tear here, those of you that have injuries have no choice but to start really understanding range of motion and how it applies to your body, and that's kind of the blessing, right? The other advantage of this, even though it looks stupid, like I said, is that I'm keeping the shoulders back so they're stable. And when they're stable, now when the bicep gets tight and the fibers are pulling, there's not instability giving it a break here and there. Because when there's two unstable places, the fibers in between will actually start to not, they'll get lax because the joint will pull and then now the muscle gets loose again, right? So it's really important. When I come up the last bit, I'm just trying to keep the shoulders tight in and then do a negative, right? It is good to hit the bicep from different angles, but like I said, until you check your ego at the door and stop trying to be like everybody else, when you stop trying to be like everybody else, then you'll finally learn how to move like you should move, right? Cheap reps here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next Sunday.